Ladies and gentlemen, the Supreme Court yesterday made their ruling. They upheld the win by William Samoei Arap Ruto as the President of the Republic of Kenya. President Uhuru Kenyatta later on addressed the country through a recorded video. But the president never, in his speech, mentioned the word William Samoei Arap Ruto. President Uhuru Kenyatta also never congratulated William Samoei Arap Ruto. And because in politics nothing happens out of mere coincidence, I want us to look at why President Uhuru Kenyatta refused to congratulate or even mention the incoming President of the Republic of Kenya. In his speech, the president made a few things very clear. The first thing he made very clear was the fact that he was going to honor the Supreme Court of Kenya's decision as per the Constitution. So basically, he's going to accept William Ruto as the president. The president also committed to oversee a smooth transition, and he indicated that he has already issued all orders necessary for the transition. Which means, from my own understanding, the fact that he indicated that he has already issued all orders, the president is not keen on the process. But the president also blamed the judiciary over the ruling. But why would he fail to congratulate William Ruto for the win? Because remember, Wafula Chebukati declared William Ruto as the president-elect of the Republic of Kenya on the 15th day of August, just 6 days after the general election. And most Kenyans started questioning why President Uhuru Kenyatta failed to congratulate William Ruto at that time. And it was understandable because he was the chairperson of Azimio. Congratulating Ruto by that time would have meant endorsing William Ruto. Number two, there was high chances that Raila Odinga was going to petition. That whole process ended yesterday. Now, listening to President Uhuru Kenyatta very briefly, before I explain to you guys why the president refused to congratulate his deputy, who is now the incoming president of the Republic of Kenya. Listen in.
Today, the Supreme Court made a ruling on the presidential dispute, upholding the results announced by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission on the 15th of August, 2022. And in keeping to the pledge that I made to uphold the rule of law when I took the oath of office, I commit to executing the orders of this court to the letter. The process of handing over is in progress through the Assumption of Office Committee, which actually has already begun its work as of August 10th, 2022. And indeed, it is my intention to oversee a smooth transition to the next administration, and all the necessary orders to facilitate this process have already been issued. And because democracy is a work in progress, I urge the country to respect the institutions that midwife our new leaders. And in doing so, I also urge citizens to constantly put them under scrutiny, for this is the civic duty of every single Kenyan. In particular, this civic duty requires every citizen to constantly put the truth presented by our constitutional institutions to test.
Now, that's President Uhuru Kenyatta. And that speech, in my view, ought to have set the tone for the relationship between the president and the incoming president, the outgoing president and the incoming president. But of course, you can also argue that it is already setting the tone. But why would he not acknowledge or even mention the name of William Ruto? For me, he's doing that because of several reasons. But before we get into that, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, I want you to take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is now. Let us get back to the main issue, and I want to go straight to the point. The first reason why the president is has not congratulating Ruto, and even did not mention him yesterday, I think is because of William Ruto's speech after the Supreme Court ruling. You know, the deputy president addressed the country from Karen, and his written speech was okay, but off the cuff, the incoming president was a bit mean. He came out as someone who was mocking President Uhuru Kenyatta. At some point, he was even mocking Citizen TV, Inoro journalist. So I think the president listened to him at that time and figured out that I'm not going to congratulate you. So for me, I tend to think that the president, especially yesterday's speech, was informed by the statement or the speech which William Ruto issued while in Karen. So that's number one. Number two, I also strongly believe that President Uhuru Kenyatta is disappointed big time. And he's yet to believe what has happened. The president is yet to come to terms that William Ruto has managed to outwit them. The truth of the matter is that I've been asking myself this question. In an ordinary circumstance, I don't think Uhuru Kenyatta, with all the state machinery, would not have stopped William Ruto. So I'm coming to the conclusions that two things might have happened, maybe beyond his control. The first thing is probably internal sabotage. And for those who've been on this channel for a long time, I always maintained that the deep state was actually divided. Initially, there were almost four camps. There was the first camp, which believed that Uhuru Kenyatta ought to have supported Ruto because they believed that Ruto had higher chances being the deputy president, and probably because they had worked with him and Ruto had committed to support him. Then there was the second group which believed that the next president ought to have come from amongst the cabinet secretaries. This is the group which was pushing for Fred Matiang'i and also for the cabinet secretary for health, Mutahi Kagwe. They were subdued. There was the third group which strongly believed that they ought to have supported a compromise candidate. And those who are talking of compromise candidate were actually pushing for either Kalonzo or Musalia Mudavadi at that time. And that's why Musalia Mudavadi left when he realized that that team was being subdued. And then there was the last group which believed that Raila Odinga was the best person to defeat Ruto because of his support, his experience, and every other thing. And Uhuru Kenyatta committed fully and supported Raila Odinga. But at the end of the day, he failed because of internal sabotage from people who believed that Raila, in the deep state, there were people who believed that Raila Odinga cannot be the president. Then I also tend to think that there were external pressure, especially from the British and from the United States of America. I strongly believe that those are the people who even piled pressure on the Supreme Court of Kenya to declare Ruto. Because if you look at even the maths which was presented before the courts, even the evidence which they were throwing, Kenyans will one day come to the reality that the Venezuelans, Jose Camargo, was actually a midfielder in all this thing. But that's now water under the bridge. So I think the president is yet to come to terms that William Ruto is now the president-elect and the incoming president of the Republic of Kenya. He's yet to believe that. Number three, I think the fallout, the long-standing fallout between Uhuru and Ruto is at play. And I'm trying to think, and I ask myself several questions. What really transpired between Uhuru and Ruto? These were dynamic duo. They used to wear the same shirt. You could just tell, you could feel they were young, all of them. But they fell out. And since they fell out, these guys cannot even talk together. In fact, when the deputy president revealed that he has not talked with the president for a long time, I was like, for how long? For months now? For months, these guys have not talked. So that fallout is the catalyst to all this. So the fallout must have been very bitter. It's only that they're not showing it in public. It must have been very bitter. And I'm seeing a situation where we are going to have a kind of Biden-Obama scenario, where Biden is coming in. Biden and Trump, where Biden is coming in and Trump is outgoing, and Trump doesn't care, doesn't even attend the swearing in ceremony. So the long-standing fallout between these two gentlemen probably is also at play. And number four, the Supreme Court ruling. And Uhuru Kenyatta alluded to it, that there's fault in the judgment. And he linked it to his 2017 presidential petition, which was thrown out. According to Uhuru Kenyatta, the difference between him and Raila were 1.4 million. The difference between Raila and Ruto is only 200,000. And he believes that at that time, even the Supreme Court were clear that it's about the processes. And according to Uhuru, the judge, the lawyers presented watertight case. But the judiciary still ended up throwing that particular petition. So he's dissatisfied, and because he's dissatisfied, I think it came as a surprise to him, so he's yet to also come to terms. And lastly, could be linked to the hustler versus dynasty narrative. The truth of the matter is that William Ruto is now on record in this country as the person who has crushed the dynasties. The Mois are down, the Kenyattas are down, the Odingas are down. So it's like he's now starting afresh with all executive authority. Like when he was with Uhuru Kenyatta, you'd argue that Uhuru Kenyatta was a dynasty and he was a hustler, which was a mixture. This time around, he came with Rigathi Gachagua, a former DO. So let us wait and see how these things are going to turn out. For now, thank you, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.